solidification of the fueling timeline, and what do you think that tells us about the changes that we continue to see on that end of things?
Well, they've made a lot of changes to the orbital tank farm over the past few flights. I believe ever since flight 1, really, they've been making changes to that tank farm, and as you all can see now, the vertical tanks are gone. I think last flight was the first time that they were all removed for. But even though it seems like most of that work is done, there's still a lot more happening on the ground as far as within that orbital tank farm. So pretty much in between every flight, they're still continuing to add new components. And this time around, I think most of their focus was with components that will be related to Pad B. So I'm actually a bit surprised that there would be any kind of change to the process. I think it's just kind of, tweaking the procedure a little bit. But I don't know. I think we won't really see any real pattern, a permanent pattern, until they move over to Pad B. Until then, I think we'll still continue to see changes, significant changes to the launch procedure.
Yeah, certainly. We'll continue to watch and look for Flight 7, which will feature, as we talked about earlier, the first Block 2 version of the ship upper stage, if there are any additional notable tweaks to that. Currently T-minus 1 hour, 1 minute, 10 seconds and counting. Do want to shout out Chuck and Jen Briggs, who are also down there at Starbase, having made the trek from Florida, taking a live look at their camera view here right now. Appreciate them making the journey. Want to go to another question that came in from Bat Dude, and I'll start with Steven this time, asking any ideas from you guys about when Starship might attempt a land-based landing. Of course, for those unfamiliar, this time, as with Flight 5, the ship upper stage will perform a soft water landing in the waters of the Indian Ocean, sort of to simulate what a catch environment might look like, and they're launching today at 4 p.m. Central in order to get a daylight landing and have some marine assets that are currently staged out there. Stephen, I believe there's been some words from SpaceX officials about this, that we're looking at, early to mid-2025, potentially, maybe a little bit sooner for catch attempt, but what is your reporting telling you right now as far as that goes?
Yeah, that's also what I'm hearing, Will. I think it's probably still a couple of flights away, although you never know with Elon.
Salve, salve pessoal, boa tarde, sejam todos bem-vindos. Imagens ao vivo lá de Starbase, diretamente de Boca Chica. Daqui a pouco o lançamento aí do voo 6, né, do nosso grande foguete Starship aí, pessoal. Vamos ficar ligadinhos. Daqui 58 minutos, a contagem regressiva aí. Boa tarde a galera que tá chegando. Hoje, grande voo histórico, né? Hoje podemos ter a opção aí do resgate novamente, do booster, né? E vamos ter imagens aí de dia da Starship lá na costa da Austrália, galera. Vamos todos chegando. Daqui 57 minutos. O tempo tá bem top, né, pro lançamento. Tudo tranquilo lá. Meteorologia ajudando aí. Show de bola, galera. Show de bola. Vamos ver um espetáculo daqui a pouquinho. Galera que tá chegando no chat, já pode mandar aquele alô aí, pessoal. Sejam todos bem-vindos. Primeira transmissão do Astro Lunar. Estamos iniciando aqui nas lives aqui do YouTube. Já fazemos lives diariamente dos astros. Hoje uma live especial desse lançamento magnífico aí da Starship, tá?
And as we're, seeing a pretty, just talk about, and explain to the viewers, the purpose of this event and what it signifies at this stage in the countdown.
Yeah, so we see two big vents. We see one up about the middle of the tower, and then one coming right on the launch mount, right underneath the booster quick disconnect. So what's happening here is after they pulled go for propellant load operations, they began using liquid nitrogen to cool down all the pipes between the holding tanks and the vehicles. Those need to be cooled down to minimize boil off during actual propellant loading. And so they have vents shortly before the to minimize boil off during actual propellant loading, and so they have vents shortly before
Salve, salve galerinha, 52 minutos para o lançamento, pouco menos de uma hora aí. Vamos ficar ligadinhos nesse sexto voo da Starship, pessoal. Salve, salve galerinha, 52 minutos para o lançamento, pouco menos de uma hora aí. Vamos ficar ligadinhos nesse sexto. 'Galera aí que tá chegando, já chega, manda aquele salve nos comentários, pessoal. Estamos aqui no aguardo, né? Já já teremos esse lançamento aí. Lançamento teste, voo número 6. $50 minutos, daqui a pouco teremos o lançamento teste aí, galera. Lembrando que estamos retransmitindo, né, diretamente da Starbase, está ao vivo lá na Boca Chica, no México. Novo México. 46 minutos, galera. 46 minutos para o lançamento. Estamos esperando a transmissão ao vivo aí da SpaceX. Ainda não abriu a transmissão oficial. 35 minutos, galerinha, 35 minutos para o lançamento, pessoal. Vamos ficar ligadinhos. A SpaceX já está quase abrindo a transmissão oficial. Vamos ver aqui se ela já está abrindo essa transmissão. Trinta minutinhos, galera.
at 8, 7.
Oh, we're coming up.
Down to
Here we go.
minus on my mark. 30 minutes.
Here we go.
Before the opening of the window for Starship Flight Test 6 out here in South Texas. Now that's my cue because I need.
That's right.
Camera and all the other equipment up there is all online. So
Yep.
Gene, can I leave it with you and Adrian
Absolutely.
and Alex here?
We got it. I've got a question for Alex while you head up there and
All right.
bring us some amazing footage.
I'll check in with y'all in a minute.
So when we just passed T 30 minutes, right? And can you quickly give us a quick rundown of what's going to happen when we really get to that excitement guaranteed moment? Because I know they can hold it at a certain point. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so at T minus 40 seconds, they automated checks on the vehicle.
Sete minutinhos aí para o teste, galera. 27 minutinhos. Vamos ficar ligados, hein? Lançamento da Starship voo 6, galera. O pessoal que tá entrando aí na live não tá entendendo da live. A live, estamos transmitindo ao vivo aí o lançamento da Starship, que vai acontecer agora daqui 26 minutos. Contagem já, quase contagem regressiva, né? Estamos em alguns minutos só do lançamento. O pessoal da SpaceX está explicando aí como é que vai ser a dinâmica do voo. Ser lançado ali da base de Boca Chica, né? O booster vai voltar para a própria base de lançar nos braços. E a Starship vai pousar lá no litoral da Austrália, pessoal. No litoral da Austrália.
The frost is building its way up inside the tanks of Ship 31 and Booster 13, and we are under 20 minutes to the opening of the launch window. And I think we can hear some things from the roof. Das, are you back?
That's me, Gene. I'm up on the roof now, and if you want to come up here to make sure you don't miss the launch, I can hang out with Adrian and Alex before we get going here.
Couldn't keep me away, my friend. I am headed that way.
All right, we'll hold down the fort from up here. Let's see, how are we looking? Did anything happen in the 5 minutes it took me to get up here?
So apparently there's a Starship and a Super Heavy booster. They're fueling them right now, Das.
Really? Hang on, let me get my Xbox controller here and see if I can find that across the channel.
Do you really have like an Xbox controller?
I literally have an Xbox controller, yeah.
That's amazing.
I'll record a whole behind-the-scenes thing. There is like a behind-the-scenes feed that I think y'all can look at. I'm not sure if we're set to show that to you or not, but we are recording. And I'll do an entire explainer around how I have the big robotic tracking mount that's controlled by a server and an Xbox controller. And then I've got 2 cameras, like bore sight and coaxially mounted. I've got a wide spotting camera and then the telephoto camera. I'll do a whole thing about it and put that somewhere on the channel. For members first, probably.
There we go. We now see your camera that films you behind you as you're getting ready to track a rocket with an Xbox controller.
It's true. It's really a lot of fun.
That is an amazing setup, and that will be, of course, a lot of fun. Looking good from visibility standpoint. We just talked about that a bit with Gene, but you're of course now on the roof. Everything looking quite clear, you would say. I think so.
Was that for Gene? Who are you just asking?
No, sorry. Basically, the question is, do you spot in a single cloud, or visibility perfect?
I don't see a single cloud in the sky. I see the WB-57 behind me. I see the dirigible
circling.
Yeah, but I do not see a single cloud in the sky. And I see the rocket great.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are just 17 minutes now away from the potential 6th flight of Starship here, as we are positioning the team now on top of the Margaritaville in preparation for this tracking. Das, what are you going to track? Are you going to track first stage, second stage? Do you already have a plan in mind?
I am going to track the entire stack as it takes off, and then I'm going to focus the robotic tracker on the booster returning. So I'm going to try to stay with it the entire way. I have really fine control over this. The mount that we're using can move in increments at a minimum rate of 0.001 degrees per second. And we did the math, and the rates that we expect are in the degree per second, half degree per second. So I've got almost... I mean, what's the difference between a degree per second and 0.001 degrees per second? I should be able to track the whole thing. The unfortunate thing is this is my first rocket launch to try and track here. I haven't used this setup. I tracked lots of planes, I tracked birds, I tracked all sorts of stuff, but I didn't get down to the Cape to practice before this launch. So we're going to see how it goes, but I am ridiculously excited right now, Adrian.
I mean, I totally get that. It's, I mean, it would be your first catch in person.
As we continue to stand by here, I'm probably talking over somebody.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I will just continue to talk here as we are getting ready here for the final few minutes in the countdown. And the rocket looks almost full now. Both booster and ship are basically wrapping up their propellant load here. So, yeah, absolutely. Who is on your roof with you? Who's tracking with you today?
So we've got the whole team up here. Jason and Gene both made it. And I am up here as well. So we've got 3 NSF folks currently ready to go. There's a lot of other folks as well here with us. The team from NASA actually has some of their tracking cameras up here. Cool experiments happening too. So we are here on the roof, ready to go in just under 15 minutes.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to this. Let's see here if I find some more quick questions here, as we are already almost there. Let's see here. I'm actually. I don't have a quick question for you right now. Das, do you have anything that you notice right now that you can quickly throw in there?
Adrian.
Salve, galerinha. 7 minutinhos para o lançamento, né, pessoal? 7 minutinhos.
Starship. E esse é o veículo que eles estão planejando para viabilizar a colonização de Marte. Com isso, você precisa fazer lançamentos frequentes, fabricar rapidamente. Eles têm o objetivo de fabricar um Starship a cada 8 horas, então estão ampliando a fábrica.
yet if SpaceX will clear the hold or not. There's a potential hold at T-minus 40 seconds that they might take or might not take. They usually confirm in advance if they want to take that hold or if they go right through it. If they go right through it, there might not be that much time for us to confirm you that before they're already arriving there. So watch for the bottom of the rocket where the suppression system and where the deluge system will start to spool up. And that is the thing you want to see, and that means they will start to ignite these Raptor engines. The holding clamps at this point have already been released. The rocket is just being held down by its own weight. There is nothing of like a hold-on clamp or commit clamp anymore that is holding the stack. We are 50 seconds away. We should get confirmation if they take that hold or not any second now.
Let's see.
And again, watch for that bottom of the rocket. That's where we will get the confirmation. Any second now. There is the beautiful rocket on the stack. Watch if we can see at the bottom if something is moving there. No holds. So watch for the deluge system to spool up. That will be our sign of imminent Raptor ignition. First, the fire suppression system. There's the fire suppression system spooling up. Next up will be the deluge. We are 90 seconds into the 6th flight of Starship. Everything looking good so far. Correct me if I'm wrong, yeah, Alex, but I see 33 healthy Raptor engines. Absolutely.
Indeed, just went through max Q, supersonic. It's, going through 20 kilometers right now. You can see there the SpaceX speed. Everything healthy so far.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Been a gorgeous launch.
And we are just approaching now the hot staging maneuver, something that we didn't give that much attention, but of course it's absolutely insane. They will ignite the engines on the ship before the before the stage separation. So what they basically do is they will use the thrust of the second stage to push the second stage away from the booster, and that maneuver is coming up. That hot staging maneuver. So far, everything looking good.
Watch out for that main engine cutoff. Well, I guess most engines cut off now.
Yep. And there it is, hot staging.
And
looking good so far. And again, the booster will do a flip now. The booster will do the flip right away out of this maneuver. You can see it there. And the booster is now in boost back.
That's the flip.
And now we are in the critical phase where the flight director...
And tower is go for catch.
Let's go. That's what we want to hear. That means they will try to attempt the catch here. The second catch attempt of the Starship program.
That boost back burn going well. All 13 engines on the booster are firing, heading back to the launch site.
Absolutely insane. And that catch is coming up roughly at 7 minutes after liftoff. So you're already halfway there from liftoff, just saying. And in about 3 minutes and 30 seconds, we will know if Booster 13 will follow Booster 12 in a successful catch attempt. Boost back burn looking healthy.
Should we say first, that's the first shutdown?
And that's good.
And then a final shutdown, it's staggered.
And remember, this maneuver is a bit different for versus Falcon 9. So while Falcon 9 performs an entry burn to slow itself down, this requirement does not exist for Super Heavy. So the next burn this booster will conduct is the landing burn.
Separated, by the way. You can see it there now floating separately from the booster. If you squint, of course, because it's very close to it right now.
Absolutely crazy. There it goes. Coasting down back to the launch side. And that booster is now our center of attention the next 3 minutes. Looking good so far. Whew, Alex. Ascent already going great.
The ship continuing into orbit.
That's what we want to hear. The ship, of course, on its own journey.
It looks like the booster is now no-go for a catch.
Okay, there we go. That was
it's going to be
that
diverting to a splashdown, unfortunately.
There we go. SpaceX has confirmed that not everything apparently is green for catch, and they will abort
the tower was go before, but during that boost back burn, it seems like they have decided to not go for the catch.
And that is the final commit. That's a final commit, right, Alex?
That's why all of these, commit criteria need to be followed and need to be, looked through and everything. It's why they are there, right? But hey, ship continues into orbit. The booster will not return to the launch site, but it will attempt a splashdown on the Gulf of Mexico. So if that goes well, that'll be a good piece of data that they'll get from the booster.
Absolutely. This is we still have a lot of things to track here today, so get ready for still a lot of excitement in the next few. And the ship, I mean, let's be real, the star of the show today is very much also the ship. That thing has still
look at
quite
that.
a journey for us. Look at that
now
booster.
It's re-entering, but remember they have just confirmed no catch, so it is going to be attempting a splashdown. We're going to try and track it all the way and see if we have luck.
Yep, absolutely. Look at that tracking. Gorgeous. And basically the booster has changed its trajectory, so it's no longer going closer to the tower.
Should be coming up on that landing burn. There you go.
Motores religados.
That's the landing burn.
E vamos pra cima, galera.
That's what we want to see. And there's the water.
Down selecting to 3.
There's the 3.
Não foram pra captura, hein?
And
see, it's doing the translation just as if it was being caught. And now,
yep.
There you go. And I would not be surprised if now it blows up, by the way. So don't be surprised.
Yeah,
there you go. Good job, booster. Good job. Was that the sound?
I think that was the burn, right? So next up,
yeah.
I'm listening. Do we get a
The ship, meanwhile, continues to go into a nominal trajectory. So far, so good.
And it seems like we don't get the explosion sound. But yeah, everything on the ship seems to be going well. And that, again, that can happen. Like, let's be real. This is a thing that can happen, and that we always said they only would commit for this catch if everything went
Engine
absolutely
count.
perfect.
Oh, there it is. Engine count. Look at that. Okay, the vacuums have shut down as expected. Should be coming up very close to that final shutdown. Look out for that speed. Should be, I think it's targeting about 26,000 kilometers per hour for these flights, but don't quote me on that.
Going down here. But, I mean, ship looking good so far. We have not heard that anything on the ship is... and there it is, engine shut off.
There you go.
Ship, we are now waiting for confirmation of good orbit on ship. And the ship has quite a few milestones still to go here. Because the ship will still perform an engine relight in space and will also try to perform, of course, this more aggressive...
And good insertion.
There we go. That's good. That enables SpaceX to do more milestones here and potentially get a lot of valuable data from the ship. Wow. Look at these views. I love that engine camera. I'm glad we are getting that, and I hope we get that during the engine relight. When is that engine relight again? Do we have a timing of that?
Yeah, it is about 37 minutes into flight, so about 26 minutes
Really
from
cool
now.
to see it lift off.
Absolutely.
To be more precise, if everything follows the same timeline, which again, times are approximate, but SpaceX has it at T plus 37 and 46 seconds. So that's sort of the point in the timeline. So we have a little bit of a coast phase here. One thing that I'm looking forward to, though, during this coast phase, we're going to see orbital sunset.
Oh, true.
And then sunrise.
That's going to be cool.
So watch out for that.
Absolutely. And I believe we maybe have somebody on comms here again. G, do we have you?
I'm speechless. I'm speechless. That was not intentional for my audio to cut out on top of the roof because I was going to talk, but the fates collided, and all I had to do was stand and watch. And I wanted to commentate on what was going on in front of me, but I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I got to see the Starship launch, and I didn't do anything. I'm just speechless to see this amazing rocket take off and fly, and the rumble and the roar that comes rolling across on the South Padre Island. Just incredible. Just incredible. And then we saw hot staging, and you wait till you see Doss's footage. Oh my goodness.
I think we've seen some of it here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Absolutely.
Look at that beautiful vehicle.
And we still have we have quite an action ahead of us, Eugene.
We do.
I mean, we have the whole ship re-entry. We have the reignition of that Raptor engine in space. That's going to be amazing.
An engine bay cam? Did I see an engine bay cam?
You predicted it. You predicted it.
Elon watches.
Absolutely.
Elon watches. He knows.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to this. I will, folks, again, we try to set expectations here. This was always something that could happen, and this doesn't make it any less exciting. And it still looked like a good landing burn. We have to say that, the whole profile, Alex, the whole approach that looks very much tower-esque, right?
Yeah, you could see it sort of, sliding in as it was landing on the ocean. So yeah, that was very neat. We did not see that with Booster 11, unfortunately, not only because it was further down range for that landing when it simulated the landing on Flight 4, but also because the weather was kind of horrible, to be fair. Today, the weather was a lot more beautiful, a lot more clear.
It'll be interesting to hear why they didn't go for the catch. And again, we talked about earlier in the broadcast, they're pushing the boundaries of what these vehicles can do intentionally. So it's going to be interesting to me to kind of go back and listen and see why they decided to go for the water landing. And
yeah, apparently at first the tower was go, but it seems like it was something during the boost back burn for the booster. It seems at least that something was not right there.
Yeah, I mean, Jack warned an explosion, right?
And that's absolutely understandable. Just to point this out again, this rocket, you have a lot of boosters. They have a lot of boosters. They have a lot of ships. They right now only have one operational launch complex.
Yep.
So protecting that at all costs, if something is not right, that is the right approach, because they can launch again in 2-3 months and try again. But they cannot rebuild a whole launch site in 2-3 months if they completely have something off and land a booster inside of it. So that is the approach that we want to see. That is a very reasonable decision. And yeah, I mean, absolutely still amazing footage. The pictures are absolutely beautiful of this launch so far.
Yeah, and from the roof, seeing it with my own eyes. Again, I right before I cut out, I was like, look, I have no magnification. I didn't even have my phone out. It was just standing on the roof with, you know, a group of folks and just watching it. And I can't explain what it's like. I've watched NSF for so long. I've seen all of the launches, and I hear the rumbles from the cameras in the field and the folks doing their job. But to feel it hit is just unbelievable. It's just something I'll never forget. And this is only Flight 6. How many more?
Yeah.
A lot more to go.
We absolutely still have a lot more to go.
What is that shot? Oh, that's down the flap. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's down one of the flaps. It's amazing, these views that we're getting, right? That, you know, how we're seeing almost orbital sunset, I guess, because it's actually not orbital, but you know what I mean.
I love how the stainless steel, when exposed to that kind of heat, starts tinting those colors. I looked up what that was called the other day, and I forgot it. I just watched a rocket launch, and my brain is
Look at these people there.
Oh yeah!
Wow. And there's the banana. There's the banana payload.
Yeah, there it is.
Banana for scale.
Open the door.
Yep.
Pez dispensed that banana.
You can see the cables are not in tension. They are essentially free floating now.
I got my bananas.
Absolutely gorgeous here. And we still have that engine relight and re-entry. And I mean, if at the end of the day you're getting an engine relight in space of a Raptor engine and the re-entry footage, I mean, I'd take that. It's still gonna be quite an exciting evening, and that will be about the next hour, because until that ship re-entry, we are talking about well, it will start in less than an hour, but if the ship goes all the way, it's about an hour, if we get all the way to splashdown. So yeah, there's the roof team.
I was wearing my shirt. I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist a wardrobe change before I ran up to the roof, so I had to change. But hey guys, I had to change my I just changed my shirt for this launch. First rocket launch. Got to wear my captain's suit.
Yep, I agree.
Just waving my nerd flag. Now we're looking. It's going to come into the Indian Ocean right at dawn. Do we know where in the sunlight it's going to be?
It will be roughly at dawn, if I recall correctly. But that's the most exciting thing here, right? We are getting a ship flip and a ship landing for in daylight.
I'm really interested to see how the sides of the ship, how they handle not having the TPS tiles. And again, they're pushing these vehicles to the limit. I want to ride one. I mean, you guys don't. Everybody knows you guys don't. I'm in. Elon, I'm ready. DM me.
Alex and I have committed for a journey of covering Starship while sitting on Earth.
Can I interrupt you two? Can you look at your screen there? How beautiful that blue line is.
Yeah,
I just wanted to bring that up because it's gorgeous, and I cannot wait to see that relight. That relight might happen. I'm mostly sure it'll happen in nighttime. So we're gonna see some interesting light spectacle there, and then when it re-enters, it'll go into daylight. So yeah,
absolutely spectacular. And yeah, this is basically, we are right now experiencing the sunset before that sunrise, which will then result in the ship re-entering over the Indian Ocean. It's going to be quite a spectacle.
Yeah, the Earth is off to the right on your screen, looking down the ship. So that's why when you saw that halo, that blue line of the sun coming through the atmosphere, absolutely incredible views.
Yeah, I fully agree. There we go. There's look at that blue line. Look at that. Oh. That's ridiculous.
That's amazing.
Yeah. You can go see it fading away.
Oh my
I don't even know what we're looking at, like which camera is this, because it's so dark that you cannot even see the ship.
But
that's fantastic.
I'm the last guy on Earth that's going to be speechless, and I'm literally speechless. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And we, again, as Adrian said, we've got probably 40 more minutes, maybe 35 more minutes. Then we'll start to see whenever that relight is, right? When we don't know when it's going to happen. I'm just waiting for the engine bay cam to turn on, and
it is if the SpaceX timeline is to be believed, that should be at T plus 37 minutes.
It's a space nanner. When was the last time we saw the inside? Wasn't it? Was it
Flight 3?
3? Yeah, when they tried to open the payload bay door and all the venting came in and was flopping around.
You can see the banana has floated a little bit up on the payload bay.
That's their 0G indicator, right?
It's a 0G banana.
That's 0G banana. I want that on a shirt too, Adrian. 0G banana.
I guess it makes sense on their 420th launch.
Yeah, it's so far that ship is very much going, and we are approaching slowly but surely that moment of Raptor relight, which will be amazing to see. That burn, Alex? That burn is probably just a few seconds, right?
Yeah, I will expect that to be just very, very short burn.
But so right now the propellant is floating around in the tanks, and they push liquid oxygen out? No, they wouldn't do that. They would put something with their RCS thrusters. They're going to move the ship forward slightly to settle everything. Or are we talking about pressurization from the? Oh my gosh! Again, just saw a rocket launch from the other tank.
One thing that we should be seeing shortly, I don't even know if we're going to see actually, because, yeah, darkness, right? But they should be preparing that Raptor engine to relight, and that involves chilling down the engine, right? And so I'm not sure if we're even going to be able to see that process, but that will be very, very interesting to know if maybe they'll show it or not.
Folks are saying that the booster, I mean, we saw the explosion. Is it floating? I mean, it's got to be a chunk of it floating. I don't know.
Some chunks might have floated, yeah. They'll get rid of that eventually.
Oh, yeah.
And we are of course looking here, standing by for
that was an expensive payload to get into.
Yeah, that's probably the most expensive launch banana ever.
The banana. Somebody could get it from the Indian Ocean. Who knows? Probably not, but I love it. SpaceX has a sense of humor. That's it's fun covering their launches because there's always something different. It's fun to cover.
Absolutely.
Guys, I can't say enough. If you've never seen a rocket launch, you can come right here and see it. I never thought this would happen, that I would be able to do this, and thank all of you guys, everybody, NSF and everybody in chat, and just everybody. Over 15,000 people watching right now. I'm stunned. You guys all told me too. You warned me, and I didn't believe you.
Yeah,
Adrian was like, I want you to watch the launch. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be up there talking to it. No, he goes, Gene, I want you to watch the launch. And brother, you were right. It's crazy.
Yeah, look at that.
Ooh.
That's interesting. That's the lightning protection tower,
Comms tower.
pole, or the comms tower.
Yeah, comms
Damaged.
weather tower.
I mean, they said if not everything is perfect. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's not in the middle. Is that in the middle of the tower section, not the piece that sticks over? Is that, or we know exactly where that is on the tower, on the top? Yeah, back. Because it's just the pressure that moved that, right?
but also Ryan Weber in the back channel saying that that thing has seen damage basically on every single launch. So yeah, but maybe there's some relation. We'll see. SpaceX hopefully confirms to us why the whole catch was aborted. But we're standing by for more information of that, and of course we are standing by to potentially see potentially at this point it's very much confirmed that this ship will re-enter. The question is just in what configuration and orientation. But there's one thing for certain, that ship will re-enter.
Poor tower, look at that.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's alone. It's asking for a hug. Even the arms didn't even close. They're still open.
It's waiting to hug the booster.
But you know what? At least the turnaround time of the pad will be shorter because it didn't have to endure a landing burn. I joke, but you know, we're gonna have to wait a little bit until that 7th flight because that'll be with the Block 2 version 2 of the ship. And you know, in the meantime, we're gonna see a lot of testing, which is good.
I think we got a
We like
special
testing.
treat on Flight 5 with a catch. I really do. Because all those things have to go exactly right for them to say, yes, go for catch. And if there was something wrong with the boost back burn, and they said, you know what, guys, let's just play it safe, save the OLM. As Adrian said, I'd rather replace a booster than an OLM because they don't have another one. They don't have another one. And they're building boosters left and right. So I think we got spoiled with that, and we all wanted to see another catch. And we're going to see another catch in the future. This time, they said, no, let's just land it. By the way, where the booster landed, potentially on future flights, we could see a ship landing somewhere in the Gulf just off of that. I mean, probably they're going to do the Pacific first, but we'll see. The regulatory people let them fly over. But we're going to see some amazing stuff going forward.
Absolutely. How much longer until that Raptor relight?
Like 12 minutes, 37 minutes after T plus 37,
Yeah,
right?
12 minutes from that burn.
And then coming up, we've got like later launches. We've got in-flight refueling and
look at that.
tracer target. Man,
That comms tower has taken a bit of damage.
Well, you know what it also means as well? They can clear the roadblock with that stand and lift because they will not need that. Silver lining, people. Silver lining.
Yep, absolutely. And again, the next flight is not that far away. The next catch attempt for sure is not that far away because we expected, I will say early February and late January, somewhere in there. That's
I might
probably
slip into
realistic.
March. Yeah, I would say
And
late
that's fine.
February, early March. Yeah,
It's the first V2 ship.
if I had to consult my crystal space ball.
I forgot mine at home.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's time. I'm getting on. Am I allowed to present something, Kevin?
It's time.
Let's go. Let's show something from this, because we like sonic booms here, and we have something special here for you prepared.
Ooh.
Look at that. Pauline finished this just a few hours ago, and I think it's a very, very, very cool design. Not only available on apparel and mugs, but also on stickers. Our Sonic Vibes shirt
Nice.
that is now available to celebrate all of these cool sonic booms. Did you hear Sonic Boom, Gene?
I did not. I did not hear the sonic boom of the booster. I was looking up in the air because I didn't have any camera, so I was looking up in the air. And I may have, but I heard obviously the roar of the rocket when it launched. But that's a beautiful design. I need one of those. Save me one of those, Adrian. And that's a debut. You're just showing that for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. We just showed that for the first time. And stand by, there might be prints coming from our photographers because they are still working on that. Go to shop.nasaspaceflight.com and get that. And get the patch. The patch is very much still amazing. I don't think it's any less amazing because they didn't go for a catch. It's still
saying we should stop testing on bananas, the poor bananas.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. Just floating free in space. About to re-enter. That's a beautiful design. I definitely want a Sonic Vibe shirt.
Thank
Add
you.
it to my collection.
And available.
Awesome.
Thank you all so much. And with that, we are now focusing our attention on this amazing Raptor relight coming on. Alex, will they perform that with a Raptor vacuum or with the Raptor sea level engine?
I'm mostly sure that'll be with one of the sea level engines, but we'll see what happens in about 8 minutes from now.
Yeah, I think it'll be a sea level engine. I mean, because they can turn it on, turn it off. We saw them do that at McGregor 50-something times a couple weeks ago, right?
Absolutely. I mean, they demonstrated their ability to relight the Raptor engine. The question is just 0G, can they do it there?
Yeah.
Because this very much ignites, of course, in
Alex,
space.
do you, just the total speculation now, did the booster explode because of the engines going under the water, or do you think they FTS'd it?
No, the FTS is saved during the re-entry. I actually heard the call out that FTS has been saved for the booster and also the ship. Like the ship right now, its flight termination system is also not armed right now. The booster, it just tipped over. Man, that's a 70-meter tall vehicle, right? Tipping over, that impact shock, that breaks the steel. The steel seems thick, but it's only 4 millimeters thick, which, to be fair, it's still thicker than some of the other rockets that have used steel in the past, but those used like balloon tanks kind of technology where you pressurize the rocket a lot more to keep the tank walls very, very thin. And, you know, it's the structure. And one thing that Ryan is remembering, you know, sort of reminded me in the back channel is the transfer tube. So, you know, there's 2 tanks on Super Heavy, right? The top tank carries methane, and then the bottom tank carries liquid oxygen. The thing is, in order to carry that methane from the top tank all the way down to the engine, you need a transfer tube. That is a long, very thin tube through which all of that methane goes through, and then there's a manifold at the bottom and everything that distributes the methane to all of the 33 engines. That tube is very, very like sort of a weak point when you try to hit the booster from the side. And so one of the potential things that might have happened, in which, you know, they have seen in the past, at least for the ship, is that maybe that transfer tube snapped or something, and that caused the methane to burst essentially and to pop out once that impact with the water as it tumbled occurred. Very similar thing, you know, if we have buoy camera today, we'll probably see a similar thing with Ship 31 today. If it lands on the ocean, don't be surprised if a few seconds later you see a fireball, because that thing will, you know, tumble and tip over after splashdown, and then you know, that's sort of a weak point it's a weak point for that kind of load. It is not designed for that, I should say, right? Of course, it is completely designed for all of the flight environments. We saw Booster 12 already landing on the chopsticks and everything, and its transfer tube, it was good. There was no explosion or anything. But obviously, these boosters and ships are not made to tip over on the ocean, you know, and be hit by that water at that velocity. They are not made for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Should be coming up in 5 minutes.
Yeah, about 5 minutes.
Relight.
And they're showing the inside of the ship. It's the only thing that's lit up. It's still in darkness, so it should be coming to dawn here pretty soon.
You can see there some of the some of the launch pad systems. SpaceX says Starship is 30 minutes into its 6th flight test and all systems continue to look nominal. So that's a good sign.
4 more minutes here to go. The tank farm and everything, of course, going now into a little bit of a savings mode, making sure they properly chill down while Starship is doing its thing. There it is.
And the important thing today with this relight is that they never got to do it on Flight 3. They were attempting to do that, but unfortunately, Ship 28, the ship for that mission, did not have a good, stable attitude control. Its roll control thrusters were blocked by ice, and so those were not working. Of course, as we've seen with Flight 4 and 5, they have had that much better control. They have that attitude control issue seems to not be happening. And today, so far, I've been looking at that graphics that they have for the attitude of the ship, and so far so good. Like it's pretty much, holding steady.
There we go. 2 to 3 more minutes. It's at 37:46, of course, initial timeline. Could all be changing.
I'm sort of hoping we see like a side by side of the banana and the engine bay, and so we see the relight, and then on the banana cam we see the banana sort of like being accelerated down by the,
true,
by the burn, because right now it's in 0G, right? It's floating there. It's held by those ooh, look at that. You can see lightning on the ground. Oh, well, on the Earth.
Earth's a planet. Ooh, look at
Is that the moon as well? Ooh, look at that.
I know what I'm looking at.
That's so
SpaceX,
cool.
turn the lights on.
A bit more until orbital sunrise. Oh, is that like an inspection light?
What is that?
No, it should be the engine chill.
Oh. And we are 2 minutes away from that relight.
So some venting is normal.
Wow, fantastic. And yes, in the bottom right, that is a reflection of the moon, I think. Of course, watch for one of these Raptor engines at the bottom right. You will probably see one of them flash white as they ignite that.
Or so we hope, because for Flight 4 and 5, it seems like it did not work for the landing burn. I'm not sure why that was the case. Let's see if that works now. Should be about a minute and a half or so.
Want to stress that we're on a trajectory where if we didn't fire off the engine at all, we are definitely coming home. Ooh, seeing some thunderstorms down on the ground. That's pretty cool. But this is not a deorbit burn. If we didn't fire this engine, we're on a intentional suborbital trajectory. So no matter what, we're coming in over the Indian Ocean. Firing off the engine does change your exact splashdown point a little bit, but we've got this keep out zone across the entire Indian Ocean that we made sure was clear ahead of flight, and we continue to monitor during. But we're going to aim for that and hopefully see this relay test coming on in about a minute. It's just going to be one of these engines, and it uses what's called the header tank, so these small spherical tanks in the very top of Starship up in the nose cone. They don't require nearly as much gas to pressurize as your main tank, so they're really useful for any in-orbit maneuvers, and then for landing burn. So if we make it to a landing burn today, we'll be using them for that as well.
There we go. And just 30 seconds from now.
That expected.
Let's see what happens here. We want to see. Hopefully, please show us the engine bay cam.
Bay. Come on.
Please. I wish I had like a steering panel for the cameras of SpaceX.
We get DOS working on it.
Yeah, probably. We should see. There it is.
Yep, there we go.
And
Just heard the call out for startup.
There we go. There it is. Yes.
There's
Thanks,
some
Big
light.
Cam.
There's that Raptor relit. And shut down.
Good.
Nice.
Yes.
Looks like it was engine 1.
Yep.
One of the
one is
C-level
always.
engines.
It's 1, 2, 3 counterclockwise, right? Or was
It's 1 is the top, the left one is 3, and the right one
Yep.
is 2.
Okay.
Of the center engines.
And there we go. That's a big win for SpaceX, demonstrating that engine relight capability in space. I know it's less spectacular than a catch, but that's a very important capability that SpaceX needs to fly actual operational missions, which might come with V2 of Starship.
Yeah, when the next version
Starting
of
to
Starship
do the
come
entry
out,
prep for that, so we're going to get the flaps positioned, and then it's going to start taking the brunt of all of that heat as you're coming in from well in excess of 10,000 miles an hour.
and they can now
There we go.
prove that they can go orbital and then deorbit and not have a gigantic stainless steel can flying around in space. So that's a huge milestone.
Yeah, and of course we have seen the how good SpaceX Starship is in surviving re-entry heat. That is of course very good if
I
you
look
want to
at the-
re-enter, but
Oh, sorry.
but of course if you have uncontrolled re-entry because you're, for example, have a failed deorbit, that capability would then turn into a negative because you have a lot of Starship surviving re-entry. So you want to have this capability of reliably deorbiting ship. Go, Alex.
Yeah, and I just look at the telemetry, went back and look at the speed. It looks like it went up by about 100 kilometers per hour, which is not a lot, but it kind of proves that it can at least do the burn when it is commanded to do so.
And now we've got that front flap cam. We're going to start seeing the once it starts to get into the atmosphere. Look at that. It's amazing.
That is the reorientation, right?
Yeah, it is currently orienting for re-entry. That re-entry interface should be in about 5 minutes from now. You can see the altitude is right now 121 kilometers. It is currently in that attitude for the re-entry. It's already with the flaps sort of tucked in for that re-entry. And one of the things as well to point out is the speed will grow. You can see it there. It's still growing up. But at one point, you'll see that it is still, that it'll start to slow down as it goes through the atmosphere.
Absolutely. And don't confuse it yet. This is not yet. Is this the Starship flying into the sun now? Because there's a glow here, but that's not the re-entry glow yet, right?
No,
Well, there's one thing to consider as well, which is because the plasma can still, like this is most likely plasma ionization, very early ionization. Shuttle fans out there, especially Crispy, will probably vouch for this because the shuttle also had this sort of phenomena when it was flying low. It was still in orbit, but it had this sort of ionization sort of deal. It was not still deep into the atmosphere or anything. But this is totally normal. We are in darkness, and so that's a lot more visible right now, that effect.
Yep. And we will see. It's going to be interesting because we will basically experience orbital sunrise here as it re-enters, right? So this is going to be quite an interesting effect that we are about to see. And friendly reminder: this entry interface and this whole re-entry lasts about 15 minutes. So we are in for a journey.
It does take some time. The movie's long.
Yep.
But we can now see it. We have, it was still the first time we saw that coming in with the Starlink on the back of the ship and seeing the live pictures of the plasma. And now here we are again, doing it again. Or the sunrise.
Also, I want to point out quickly from Ryan Weber in our back channel, apparently that burn added about 81 kilometers per hour.
Yeah.
So just to add that as a quick number.
It was also prograde, by the way, just like we expected based on Flight 3.
So the ship is now going further and not.
Yeah, just a tiny bit, because 81 kilometers per hour is not a lot, but good enough for testing the relight capability of Raptor.
There we go. The glow is now intensifying. I think this is indeed some early signs of the re-entry glow, as we are getting more and more witnessing here of that amazing effect that we are only always seeing so clearly on Starship.
It's funny because it looks so steady that it looks almost like the camera is frozen. I bet some people in chat are already saying that it's frozen. I'm looking at the camera very closely, and I can tell you it is not.
And the telemetry's changing.
And so far, the telemetry and the video sort of go, differently. So far, everything looks good. Lars Blackmore just said that they are good for re-entry. It is holding attitude, and
now
look at
the test begins, and it looks so calm, but this is violent. Like the amount of heat, the amount of energy that they are bleeding off in the next 15 minutes. Against that, the landing burn of Super Heavy is kind of a walk in the park. The energy this heat shield is bleeding off is insane.
And again, they stripped what?
Look at the engine cam.
Tiles off both sides, 6 rows.
It's funny because you can see one of the vents.
Oh, true. There's ice on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Won't be for much longer.
Oh, look at these.
Yes.
Yes. They learned the trick from Kevin.
Right. So they're really paying attention to those front flaps.
Yeah,
that's where they had issues on the previous flights, 2 flights, with the burn through. But the engine bay cam, you gotta love that.
Yep.
Takes it back.
It will change colors over time. This will not stay as red. It will get some different colors. And remember, the thing we don't want to see is a lot of sparks. The moment we see a lot of sparks, that's usually not that great for the ship. We have sight on the booster?
Oh, yeah, you can see some of the flames there.
Wow.
Yeah, there are 2 helicopters flying above it. That's completely normal. Look, part of the process for SpaceX to get approval for these things is, hey, if something, like they say, hey, if something goes bad, we'll deal with it. We'll recover any pieces that are floating that may be a hazard for navigation. And so this is all part of that process, right? That's good. They are being good neighbors, so to speak, right?
And also, just to point this out, there are processes in place how to sink a booster in the ship, and one of them at the end is literally shooting the booster. Basically, what they first will do is they will try to open vents on tanks if they want to sink a part. If that doesn't work, they will use ballistic forces, is I think the permission wording, to open that booster up and make sure that it's becoming a natural reef, because most of these boosters will become like a natural reef if they are not recovered. But of course, that is very close to the shore, so they might have some interest in actually fishing that out and getting some data, because, well, more data, more better.
And that's what they did with the hot staging on Flight 5. And now that the booster is out there, they can do the same thing.
Absolutely. That's super cool to see that like burning in the distance.
Flaps now have control of the vehicle, by the way.
Oh, so that means there's aerodynamic, because that means there's enough aerodynamic that so you have to imagine this. At the beginning, this atmosphere is super,
and you can see the
thin.
speed going down, by the way, as well.
Yep. So now that speed needs to go to 0.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck.
It will.
Yeah. At the very least, to about 300 kilometers per hour, which is about the belly flop, sort of the terminal velocity of the ship.
It's going to go to 0 one way or the other. Whether they land it in the Indian Ocean or it lands itself in the Indian Ocean, it's going to go to 0. I mean, launches are optional, landings are mandatory. But you're going to see that number start to, when it gets into the thick part of the atmosphere, that number, that kph is really going to drop, and it's a show. the sparks start to fly. You start to see the smoke come up the sides. I'm really interested to see what happens to the side of Ship 31 when they really get in the hot part.
I'm also looking forward to that.
Because they changed the entry profile. Like they intentionally want a steeper entry to test that, don't they, Alex?
And also during the belly flop, we're gonna see a high angle of a tank. Just approaching the peak heating of reentry, by the way.
Oh, look at that.
They're going to have a high angle of attack.
And we just heard we're getting into the peak heating phase. We're getting these views courtesy of Starlink. We've got 4 different terminals on the ship itself. It's what's really allowed us to get real-time data during what's otherwise been just a mystery box, essentially, for spacecraft design, where when you're re-entering through the atmosphere, at least getting anything in real time hasn't ever been possible before. But we're able to not just get these views, but real-time telemetry from the ship as it's coming through. Do really want to stress that we are really pushing the ship today. The heat shield is not in the same configuration as it was last flight, where we had a team of ship techs do just an otherworldly task, replacing the entire heat shield thousands of